All right, what's cracking, everybody? New video. This video was inspired by a question that I was asked um, regarding somebody in YA. So I guess he had helped somebody out in YA, and he was asking, as far as the vatos from down south, um, is there anything like that or anything? So here, let me tell you a story. So I'm in Paso. I'm in YA, right? California Youth Authority. Um, and the unit that I was on, that was my compa. I was the so-called shot caller in that dorm in YA. And so every week we had new dudes coming in from the fish tank. Arroyo's the fish tank. So we have new dudes coming in. And when that front door opens, everybody looks because you want to see is your enemigo coming through. Wow. So one day the door opens, bam, and a couple of dudes came in, and this really little bitty dude came in, tattoos on his face, which was rare back then, right? He had 3 big ass dots right here, and he had something else. But he came in, right? And he went into the dorm, put his shit down, got his bed area, and put his stuff in his locker, came back out. And there was a homie from Weedmas that came over, and he was like, hey, just a heads up, that vato right there is a Leva. And I was like, all right, gracias. And so, it's going to be all bad for him, right? It's really bad for Levas and YA, right? So I don't ask anything because I was in the middle of something, right? And I watched this vato. I watched this dude. And he was from Drifters. I'm not going to say his name. He was from Drifters. And I don't know. I just got this vibe, man. Like something wasn't right, you know. And so I kept people off him. I said, let me watch this dude for a few days. Let me just see his get down. And he looked like a wounded animal more than anything. He looked spooked. He didn't want to make eye contact. He kept to himself. And so one day I tell the homies, hey, I'm gonna talk to this dude, eh? So I pulled him into the shower room, not into the showers, the shower room. It's a cold tile area, and there's 2 benches there. And I had my road dog with me, Stymie from Largo, from Compton, right? Because I want to hear why he was Leva, and then I was gonna deal with him with Stymie, right? That was my mind. But I had this feeling about him. So I tell me, I told homies, tell that vato to come over here. And he came. He came. You could tell he was scared, but he showed up, right? And I told him, hey, sit down. And he sat between me and Stymie. And I asked him, hey, are you a Leva? And he goes, they're telling me I'm a Leva, yeah. And I told him, why are you Leva? And he told me what happened. What happened was, when he was in Arroyo, there was some kind of holiday, right? And for whatever reason, but they didn't do it when I was there, but the staff brought in stuff to make nachos for everybody in the unit, right? And I guess they set it up on tables. And so they had a table that had chips and a table that had, like the beans and the cheese, the jalapenos, whatever, however they set it up, right? And so the vato from Drifters got in line, and he went to go get his nachos. And you got to remember, this is the fish tank. So he went from juvenile hall to SRCC to there. He was probably just excited. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to get my grub on. And there were other homies that were in line with them. And so he grabbed his shit, and he went and he sat down and he started eating. And he took one bite and he looked up, and he said the homies were just looking at him, shaking his head. They were like, you're a Leva, fool. And he was like, he didn't know what was going on. And he looked around, And he was the only homie that was eating nachos. There were other homies in line, but he was the only one eating them. And when he looked around, he was the only one that even had a plate. The blacks had plates, you know, the others had plates, but he was only, and he was like, he took one bite and he was like, fuck. So he went and he threw his plate away, and he saw that there was a bunch of plates that were already in there, you know, that had the chips and everything. So it turns out a black staff member, her name was Mrs. Buck. She had reached into a bag of chips and was putting them on plates. And the way why was, I told this story a while back. It's in one of my videos. I don't remember the name. It's probably the white racism story. Once a black person touched anything, Raza wasn't allowed to use it. That was just the way the rules were back then. That's why I say why it was so it taught people how to hate, and to hate in an extreme fashion. And that's why so many of us, when we paroled, we got out and killed somebody or got killed, because we were pushing an agenda to a more extreme level than most, right? So anyways, when he tells me this, right, I asked him, did anybody tell you that the food was Leva? And he goes, no. And I go, did anybody run you down when you got there? And he goes, no, I just got there. And I told him, okay, why were the other boys? And he goes, I guess somebody told him, like their homies told him I didn't have no homeboy. And, you know, they told him, like, hey, throw that shit away. It's no good. And he goes, nobody told me. And I go, well, you're not a Leva fool. And he was like, that's the first time he really kind of like looked me in the eyes. And he goes, what? I told him, you're not a Leva. You can't be dropped Leva if you don't know the reglas. It don't work that way. I said, what happened was you had some snake ass motherfuckers over there, which was what why was most of the time. You know, it was Vatos like to prey on other people. It was just a weird thing, man. And like a lot of times, if you didn't have a homeboy there or somebody to take a liking to you, you could fall into a trap. And if there's not somebody who's fair, you're stuck in that trap because other people won't ask. So anyways, I told him, you're not Leva fool. And he's like, no, but you know, I don't want you to get in trouble. You know, who's gonna get, how am I gonna get in trouble? Why is different than the joint? The joint, you gotta listen, you're gonna mind somebody, right? But in YA, it's the Wild West. But when you're voted in to take over the compa, which was what happened to me, I was voted to have that position, right? By the homies. So, anyways, I told Stymie, I said, hey, get a ball. So Stymie went, boom, we already had one in the day room for us. And he hooked it up. A bowl is when you hook up your sopas, you know. So he hooked it all up, makes it, comes back, and he hands it to me, right? And homies are watching from the day room. They can see into the shower room. They see me talking. I know they thought like, oh yeah, they're gonna fuck this dude up, you know. And then they saw the bowl, and you could see where people were like, what the fuck's going on? And I handed him the bowl, and I told him, take the first bite. And he had the food in front of him, and he was like, no, I don't want to do this. And I said, take a bite out of that fucking bowl. So he took a little ass bite, or like a mouse thing. He took a little bite. Then when he took the bite, I grabbed the bowl and I looked directly at the vatos in the day room. And I took like 3 or 4 bites. And I handed it to Stymie. He took 3 or 4 bites. And I handed that back to him. And that vato was still like, man, aren't you going to be a Leva now? I said, how? It doesn't work that way. You didn't fuck up. You know, you cannot be dropped Leva for not knowing the reglas. Somebody has to run you down, and then you make a decision like, fuck you and your reglas. Then it's like, all right, fuck you, and we're going to do whatever we want to you. And Levas had it bad as fuck in there, I'm telling you. And so we ate the bowl together. We went out to the day room, and I told everybody, he ain't no Leva. That's a camarada. That's my friend right there. And, you know, it was a trip because I know that individual, hopefully you're still alive. Hopefully you're doing very well and you have a bunch of kids, bunch of grandkids. You have a woman that loves you to death and treats you like a king and you treat her like a queen. That would be the best thing for me to hear. But no matter what, I'm sure that if he's around and sees this video, he's going to remember who I am. And I know that even out of Stymie was my dog. I had a couple of different dogs in there. You know, I was there for years. That guy was more loyal to me for what I did to him. And I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because it was right. You know what I'm saying? I've never been one of them dudes to be like, I want to elevate my position by standing on somebody else's neck. That's not what being a homie or being a camarada was ever about in my eyes. That's not the way I was schooled. Um, you know, all my life when I was jailing it, my thing was always, I'm not gonna hang around with the vatos my age because I'm not gonna learn nothing, you know. So I was blessed enough to learn from individuals who weren't snakes. I've never been a snake, but it's funny because um, the enemigos that I did have in YA, being from Santa Barbara, there wasn't a lot. I was fighting everybody though, but righteous enemigos, barrio enemigos, the ones that were, he was rushing them. Like if he was my homeboy from my neighborhood. And it was cool, man. And then I remember when I was getting kicked out of Paso, um, when they brought the raza from Northern California and Paso went fucking buck wild. That was in May of '92, and I got the boot. I got transferred out. A lot of us were doing shit, and so they were shipping us all out to Chad or TS. And I remember being in the box, and when you're in the box, once you're there 7 days, they got to start giving you day room. And he kept getting off to be over there with me because he knew I was going to get transferred, and he wound up on my day room group. It was a trip, but that's my story on the so-called Leva. That he became a fool, once he realized, hey, I'm not what they said I was. It was funny to watch him, man. you know it was funny to watch him, but like I said, I hope that he has a great life now. I hope he's healthy and is doing well. So I got a few things. I'm telling you guys, man, I want to put out something every day for you guys now. You guys are really supporting me, and I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the like, man. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm noticing that it's almost 50-50 on who's watching my videos between subscribed and unsubscribed. If you like this video, subscribe, man. And go back and see some of my old stuff. I have a lot of new viewers, a lot of new subscribers that have came around since I did a couple videos on Whack and Big U, and this channel's a lot more than that. I want to do other things. I am gonna start trying to focus on my second channel too, Discussions with Dubs. That's the one. If I'm gonna be, I want to have people on with me when I'm on that. I want to interact with people. And you guys already know everything I do. I want to provoke that. With that, I'm out. Tell the ones you love that you love them.